This Parasha, Parasha's Beha'alotcha, there are a lot of things we learn in the Parasha, how you need to do a mitzvah. What are the details of every mitzvah, of mitzvahs that we have in the Parasha. We're going to have a look at two mitzvahs, and we will put them together. The mitzvah of doing two of the kelim as miksha achas, making it as one piece, and Pesach Sheni, that we do Pesach Sheni, we have whoever was not able to do Pesach Rishon under certain circumstances could do Pesach Sheni. Now, in our Parasha, Hashem says to do two kelim as miksha achas. In chapter 8, it says about menorah samor that the menorah should be done miksha zov adirecho ad pircho mikshahi. It was so complex to do it as one piece. It needs to be one piece, that no connection, no welding, no screws, no connecting and then fixing. It has to be one piece when you make it. Moshe Rabbeinu needed Hashem to show him how to do it. And Rashi brings a Medrash Tanchuma that says that Moshe started with the melacha, but found it very difficult to be able to complete it. Although Hashem showed him the details, so eventually Hashem said to him to take it as it is, the kikar zahav, the way it was, and put it in the fire, and the menorah nasta me'aleh. It was done on its own. Obviously, Hashem formed it for Moshe Rabbeinu. In chapter 10, we have about the trumpets, the chatzotzros. The same thing, we need to do the miksha, we need to do them one piece. Question is, why is there so importance for miksha achas? What does miksha achas symbolize? Why is it important to have miksha achas when you do mitzvahs? Obviously, this all has to do about the mitzvahs. What's important in miksha achas in the mitzvahs? The nature of every person is that from the moment that he can remember himself, he always has things he's busy with, tasks, whether it's tasks of kodesh, tasks of chol. Even a child has tasks. He needs to get up in the morning, he needs to get dressed, he needs to get to school on time, he needs to pray, he needs to learn, he needs to play his games, he needs to play again, and he needs to do his homework, and he needs to play again, and he needs to eat, and he needs to sleep on time, and he needs to wash the dishes at home, or take down the rubbish, or whatever task he has, to play with his brothers, with his friends. It's always things going on. And it continues in life. This is only the child, but imagine when someone grows up and then he has more tasks and more responsibilities, and he has parnasa, he needs to look after his parnasa, and he needs to learn a profession, and he needs to take care of other people and in the community, and he needs to go obviously to shul, and he needs to learn, and everything together. Now, how can you do mitzvahs when you are in the middle of so many tasks? You have everything that needs to happen. How can you do mitzvahs without getting confused from all those activities and all those different things you need to do? So before we answer this, let's look at the mitzvah of Pesach Sheni, which is written and the 9th chapter. So that's between the 8th chapter, where we have one miksha achas, and the 10th we have another miksha achas in the middle, right? You have the menorah, the trumpet in the middle. We have Pesach Sheni. So the Parasha of Pesach Sheni in Perek Tes, it starts that when Am Yisrael are exactly at that point of time, are nearly 1 year after Yetzias Mitzrayim. And Hashem gives Am Yisrael the mitzvah of Pesach to do it every year with all the details to the smallest detail. The details of the halachas, if someone is pure or not pure, etc., and how you need to do it, and when you need to do it, and who needs to do it, and who does it together, and all the details. And who cannot do it, someone who's not pure, etc. And then the Torah goes on and says that Am Yisrael did Korban Pesach. The Pasuk says they did the Korban Pesach on time on the 14th, which is the day they do it. The next Pasuk, the Torah tells us that after the Korban was done, a few people who were Tomei at the time of Korban Pesach, earlier in the day, and they approached Moshe Rabbeinu. And they said, why can we not join into this mitzvah? And the question is asked immediately, what do you mean? You were Tomei, and everyone learned it from just not long ago again, when we were commanded to do it. 2 weeks ago in Rosh Chodesh, we were commanded to do it, when you all learned from Hashem and then from Moshe Rabbeinu the rules. So we knew that the Tomei is not allowed to do it. So what was their question? Now, Or Chaim says, obviously they were Tomei because they were dealing with either with a Meis Mitzvah or with the bones, Atzmos Yosef, with the bones Yosef. So they basically obviously knew that they cannot, because they're not pure. At the same time, why did Hashem not count us as Tehorim? Because we did Ratzon Hashem, we did what Hashem wanted us to do. And we know that there are cases where we can. For example, if the majority of Am Yisrael are Tomei, and therefore we can do Korban Pesach Betumah. So why did Hashem not count us in? And this one, we did Ratzon Hashem. That's why Hashem wanted us to do. He wanted us to look after the Atzmos Yosef or Meis Mitzvah. There's two opinions. Well, Hashem did not want us to do Korban Pesach. So that was a very valid question. Moshe Rabbeinu says, let's see what Hashem will instruct us to do. Hashem heard it, obviously. Let's see what Hashem instructs us to do. And indeed, immediately the Torah says, Hashem agrees, and Hashem instructed on a mitzvah of Pesach Sheni with all the detail how they can do Pesach Sheni and who will do, who will not do. So this we understand. That's Or Chaim. He explains very nice this bit. The question is, obviously it's clear that those people who are Tomei to do a mitzvah of Shmiras HaMeis, they did it to fulfill Hashem's wish. And obviously they knew the halachas of Korban Pesach. Yeah, okay, we understand that. But why did they wait with this question from Moshe Rabbeinu until after Am Yisrael did Korban Pesach? They did the Korban, it's ready, and now they say, one minute. What about our part? What about our portion? Why are we not in? We actually did the mitzvah. They knew earlier that it takes 7 days to become tahor, and you need the Erev Shemesh till the evening after. And actually, that's what they were missing, this bit. They were nearly there. So why only now they came with it? Why did they ask it earlier? So the Lubavitcher Rebbe Zichron Levucha explains very nice that when someone has a shlichus to do a mitzvah, he has a mitzvah he needs to do, he has a mitzvah at hand. At the time he's doing this mitzvah, there's nothing in his world. There's only the mitzvah Hashem gave him. Now I'm 100% dealing with a task at hand. Hashem gave me a task, that's what I'm going to do. So those people, when they were dealing with Atzmos Yosef or Meis Mitzvah, they had no ability and no need to deal now with the mitzvah of Korban Pesach. It was clear to them that Hashem is not going to leave them out because they're doing Ratzon Hashem. So they did not deal with it at all before the time of the Korban. Came the time of the Korban and said, oh, but we are left out. How could that be? Where's the logic? And that's where they went and asked Moshe Rabbeinu. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, good question. Let's see what Hashem answers. And Hashem gave them indeed a way to do Pesach Sheni. When we look at this, we can understand the point why we need Miksha Achas. We said in the Kelim, we need Miksha Achas. It's true a person has a lot of tirdas, a lot of things that will keep him off mind of doing the mitzvahs because there's so many tasks at hand. However, the Torah teaches us that when you get to the point that you do a mitzvah, at that point, you should be 100% you in the mitzvah. Miksha Achas, it's one piece, you and the mitzvah all together. And indeed, as we've seen, that's what they did. The people Lotam and Nefesh Adam, so much so that they came to Moshe Rabbeinu only in the evening, because until now they were dealing with the mitzvah. That's all they had, the mitzvah, and that's what they dealt with. And indeed, the Torah, we understand what the Torah says, the laws of Pesach Sheni, between two laws of Miksha Achas, one for the menorah and one for the trumpets. Between the Miksha Achas, we have this Pesach Sheni, and someone who didn't do Pesach Rishon on purpose, he knew what he was doing, he was not Miksha Achas with the mitzvah, he cannot do Pesach Sheni. So Bezrat Hashem, I would bless everyone that when we will try to do mitzvahs as hard as we always try, Hashem will make it easy for us to do it k'miksha achas, that we can do it all, we are all in the mitzvah, at that point we have nothing else to do. Shabbat Shalom.